me to look. It doesn't matter.
Very good. You're ready.
Well, good evening and welcome to Edgar High School. And we're a little bit early tonight. The game kicks off at 7 o'clock as the Wildcats will take on Iola Scandinavia in a nice matchup in the Merriwood Central Wisconsin Small Conference. But before that, it's alumni night here at Edgar High School. And tonight it's a very special alumni night. They'll be recognizing head coach Jerry Sinz and his 50 years of head coaching here at Edgar High School and all of the success that's gone with that. And we're going to talk to a number of his assistants and the people who've played in the program and other people in the program throughout the years. And we start here with Greg Streit, who's been the defensive coordinator for the Wildcats for 19 seasons. And you were also a player under Jerry and, in fact, a state champion under Jerry. Talk about the first time you met Jerry Sinz and what did you think as a player?
Well, as a player, I mean, we didn't have that middle school program like we have now, so it was high school. And you were a freshman, and I just remember you had to wear green, and everybody else wore white, so you were just, a little nervous. But he's always, it was easy to just get into, like, the routine, the program, the same stuff we did back in, 1996, we're still doing today. Obviously we've added some things to practice and whatnot, but, I just always thought he was a really good leader. I think some people know this, but, he has a degree from Stout. I have a degree from Stout in Tech Ed, and he has Tech Ed as well. I coach football, and I just, he's kind of a really, really good mentor for me growing up. And as he has been for so many young men in this community throughout his time here. I mean, and like you said, it ranges. It's 50 years, 55 years that he's been here now, so 53.
You talk about doing the same things you did when you played, and probably since he started coaching, the consistency that brings to a program helps build the success into a program when you don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. You're doing the same things that have been successful.
Yeah. I think nowadays people tend to get lost in especially with our society where we have access to everything. Like, let's try this play and let's try this gadget and let's turn to this defense. And instead, we still focus on the basics of blocking, tackling, and running every single day in practice, which is why I think when our kids come out, sometimes they may be better prepared because football comes down to those three things in the end, and we practice those three things every single day. And I always said, maybe our kids look a little different because we are a team that focuses on our running and stuff like that, and speed and strength.
When you talk about a small school program like this, teams that have suited up 15, 18, 20 players, teams that have dropped out of 11-man football and gone to 8-man football because they just can't get the kids to come out anymore. How does that work here? And what did Jerry do early to make it something special to come out and play football for the Edgar Wildcats and get all of these families that have had generation of players come through the program?
Yeah, I think a lot of getting kids to come out is our success now. And obviously, everyone's kind of heard this story as it gets out about Coach Sinz going out and recruiting guys. Because I asked him last week, he said he had 14 guys the year before he took over, and 8 of them were seniors. And then he went out and recruited and had over 40 guys. And I think for a lot of the kids, it's just a special thing to be a part of the Edgar football program. We have our alumni meeting tonight afterwards. There'll be a bunch of guys that come back and who played underneath them. And the numbers thing, it's very important too. We have really good assistant coaches, and we have a lot of assistant coaches who are teachers here at the school. So we're able to see those kids, and they range all the, we have our elementary Phi Ed teacher, we have another elementary Phi Ed teacher, so they get them early on, and even if you go into their Phi Ed classes, they're doing the same warm-ups and stuff like that. We also have a great youth flag football program. I know a lot of people start kids when they're in first, second, third grade in tackle. We've never done that. We have a flag football program here in town that the kids get fired up, And talking numbers-wise, it's fluctuated over the years. A couple of years ago we had a group of 6, and it's all about class size too. We got a small class coming up in one of these, so we'll see what we get out of there. But I think my son's in 3rd grade with some of these managers here, and we counted about 28 or 29 kids that we think are going to play football in 8-9 years. We have that many seniors we're hoping for. So
you're looking back that far to
oh yeah. We're talking. Well, we got the elementary guys. They line them up and they got them ready to go. I can name kid after kid that's going to be an all-state player in that elementary.
You talk about the consistency not only of the players in the program, but as you said, some of these assistant coaches like yourself have been in it for years and years. And that breeds consistency as well when they're hearing the same voices and not hearing a different voice all the time.
Yeah, Coach Sinz kind of talked with me the other day about it's kind of been almost like 2 batches of coaches because we had, the Billmeiers and the Stenkes and the Ingrid and Rich Nowak, their era of
and we're going to talk to some of those guys as we go through
30-some years. And then it kind of, I'm the only one that maybe had a year or 2 with, a few of those guys, maybe 3-4 with Stein and a few more with Billmeier. But, and then now we've got guys I've got 19, 21 overall. But other guys that have now 13, 12, 10. You don't see that consistency in high school sports that often
Absolutely.
anymore because there's a lot of things pulling other people's different directions, you know. So it's a big commitment, not only that Coach Sinz has made to build this program, but kudos to all of our wives for letting us do it too.
The family's got to buy into it, right?
It is. You know, it's a complete family thing. You know, Teague actually came home with Carter today from college, and they're all excited about the game. You know, they're ready to get back and watch us play and stuff. So it's good.
The whole situation with it being 50 years, and everybody says, well, he's going to hang it up one of these years. You got to make preparations for that. What's your sense as to, is he going to keep going? Is he looking at maybe it being the end of the line at some point here soon? Or
well, you know what, a lot of people, again, you know, if you're in school, you know this, but Coach Sinz is at school every single day. I mean, he's
even though he's not teaching anymore.
Not teaching. He has an office right in our ag room, which is connected to my wood shop. So he's in that in that room all day long, and then he'll come out and chat with me for a while, at least till noon, or if he gets back from church, whenever, you know. He'll sit there and come out and have questions and talk about things, and it also keeps him close to the kids. You know, he still subs sometimes for school and stuff. When people ask that question, you know, a long time ago, it feels like now, but when Justin was playing at Purdue, we kind of thought, well, boy, he's going to run him ragged, you know. But he's a tough dude, and he drove all those years. And after that, I think it's just a love for the game. And if you talk to any of his assistants, I mean, he's still really hardcore. Trust me, like he's still going to get after you. And we coach hard when he's coaching with us. And I don't foresee him wanting to hang it up. I think he's got he's built the program really, you know, and does his part of it. So he's got the practice plans and, you know, the daily routines and the regimens. You know, he still stretches with the kids every day and has all those things. You know, loves to tape ankles, which he's doing right now. So he has all those things that he loves to do, and then we have enough guys that have been around long enough now where, you know, we take care of the fundraising stuff, we take care of the youth stuff, we take care of all that other stuff that he doesn't have to do. And to be honest, a lot of us look at the stuff that he has to do, and we don't want anything to do with that stuff either.
Yeah.
You know, and I think part of that coaching thing too, like for younger guys, is you hear a little riffraff, you know, and stuff like nobody questions what Coach Sinz is doing out here. So I don't foresee him hanging up, and we as assistants surely don't want him to hang it up.
Well, we got a couple of minutes left. How about the game tonight? You've had some running time games, in fact, 3 in a row. This probably is not going to be one of those tonight. Iola Scandinavia should be a challenge. Yeah,
it should be a really good game. I mean, they've got, you know, obviously the fastest kid in the state, maybe any division this year is going to be, you know, in track with the Rice kid, and he's fast. I mean, he's not just fast, he's unbelievably fast. So we got to make sure we take control, or, you know, take him first, take care of him, and then they've got the big receiver, number 1, Logan, you know, who's got a bunch of offers from some, you know, pretty big schools. So, you know, I think he's a pretty big threat for him. And then they have a decent amount of seniors that, you know, can run the ball pretty well, and they've got some big linemen. Overall, I think we're healthy, and, you know, we're excited for Alumni Night. The kids, you know, I asked them this week, I told them, what more could you want? You know, playing Alumni Night, you got our huge crowd. It's Coach Sinz's 50th. If things go some way, which way in the other games, it could be for a conference championship tonight. So I think our kids are ready. They're fired up. But yeah, Iola's gonna give us a test, which is fun. You know, like we talked about, and you're a competitor, I'm a competitor. I'm glad that other teams have football, but I really look forward to games like this. And that's what I told kids. This is why you work in the summer. You don't work in the summer to play 4 or 5 plays. You work in the summer to feel exhausted at the end of the game.
Oh, we look forward to it tonight. It's going to be a good one. Greg Streit with us here tonight on Jerry Sinz Night on Alumni Night. Thanks a lot.
Yes, thank you.
We'll take a break, come back with more after this on Zaleski Sports.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Located in Edgar, Wisconsin, Edgar Building Supply operates as a lumberyard and hardware store, assisting contractors, homeowners, and businesses with their building needs varying from roofing and siding to windows and cabinets. Their knowledgeable staff can assist you with planning your project, estimating costs, and drafting blueprints. Get started on your building project today with Edgar Building Supply.
Cropping Central, conveniently located between Edgar and Stratford on County Road N, 715-352-2843. Let Cropping Central take care of your field plans, yield mapping, crop scouting, and crop protection, including hail insurance. Cropping Central, 715-352-2843, and visit them on County Road N, west of Edgar.
Ridgetop, we are your trusted, local, affordable exterior renovations expert. Isn't that right, Bo?
Exactly, especially when we are working on someone's biggest investment.
Can you give us an example, Bo?
Well, there was this house. We replaced the roofing, siding, and windows. Then they left a 5-star review.
One of our thousands of 5-star reviews?
Exactly.
For your free, no obligation estimate, call us today or go to ridgetopexteriors.com.
Just got done taping ankles.
And we're back here. It's Alumni Night at Edgar High School, Jerry Sinz night. We're talking about Coach Jerry Sinz, still coaching his 50th season. And we're with assistant coach Andrew Lukasko now, out of breath from running up the stairs and running from the school where you were taping ankles. And Coach Streit just told us that the head coach still tapes ankles as well and likes it.
Yep, absolutely. Big part of the pregame routine ritual. It'd be interesting to ask him how long he's been doing it, if it's from the beginning of time, year 1 to year 50. But
and how training has changed over the years. I mean, you're one of the younger assistants on the squad. You haven't been here for all of it, but listen to these numbers. 48 winning seasons, only 1 losing season. That was the first year. Second most wins in Wisconsin high school football history. Most playoff wins in state history. 14 state championship appearances, the most in state histories, and 8 state titles. I mean, the numbers just boggle the mind.
It's a legacy to be remembered for all time, and one to be analyzed and looked at and studied as to how it all went down, and honestly just feel blessed to be able to be a part of it and have come up through it as a player, as a manager back before being a player, and now as an assistant coach. So many lessons learned, not just about the game of football, but I think more importantly, the game of life, and how that all applies to it.
You're going to hear that a lot from people, I think, is that obviously coaches care about winning games. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it if you weren't competitive. But at the high school level, it's a lot more than just winning games. I mean, yeah, you win a lot of games. You get to coach a lot longer than maybe guys that don't win a lot of games. But it's the relationship with the players. It's seeing what the players become later in life. All of that stuff is just as important as the wins.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you alluded, I'm pretty young in my coaching career. But to have been a part of it on the player side, the relationships that the coaches build, that Coach Sinz built with me when I was a player, and how that carried over into my endeavors after high school and being a college athlete, and now being able to have the privilege to coach with him and continue to carry those lessons forward and try to help just shape the minds of young men, young adolescent teenage boys who need to learn those tough lessons sometimes.
Talk about what you have learned from him over the years of coaching with him when you get a head coaching job, because I would imagine you aspire to that at some point. when you get a head coaching job, what can you take from this program to help you build a program down the line?
Yeah, so many just foundational elements of the X's and O's, the relationship pieces, and how Coach Sinz goes about building those in the off seasons, having player meetings. There's so many things that he's taught me that I carry with me. I'm the head wrestling coach now for Edgar, and so many lessons from football that I apply to the sport of wrestling and working with the athletes that I get to work with in wrestling. Many of them football players as well, but it goes so much beyond the X's and O's with Coach Sinz. And really teaching kids about life, and I think that's the thing I'll carry with me the most.
When you're at a small school like this, obviously a lot of these football players have to play other sports. So if you're going to have other sports, it's going to be the same group of kids that play most of them. Some football coaches don't like their guys to play a lot of other sports, but I would imagine here it has to happen, and the coaching staff is okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit it right on the head. In a small school, for programs to survive and try to thrive, you do have to have athletes that participate in multiple sports, and to see so many of our kids do that, I think it speaks to all the coaches that we have here in the school district who buy into that philosophy and understand that being a well-rounded athlete will help all of the programs succeed, and Coach Sinz is certainly a proponent of that. He was an assistant basketball coach back in his day, and he certainly encouraged his players to play basketball, and I think those are very important things to happen in a small school.
Let's go back to the first time you met Coach Sinz when you came into the school at Edgar. As a player in the classroom, things like that, what were your impressions?
He was a very intense man, a very focused, purpose-driven individual, but he had a soft side to him where, he could kind of let you in and build a positive relationship. And, I grew up in the same neighborhood as Coach Sinz. That's something that he likes to brag about, is all the kids in his neighborhood, how, we found pretty successful careers as Edgar athletes and beyond.
How many neighborhoods are there? There can't be that many.
True. We're talking about Brooklyn Avenue. But no, there's back in the early days of my elementary career as a football manager, so many just outstanding times building relationships with kids my age through the development of our football program as managers. I think that carried into us having really foundationally positive building blocks to go from to then become football players in the program playing for Coach Sinz. So, just a very driven man who has great vision, and that's where we carried it from.
I'm probably going to ask everybody that we talked to tonight the question. 50 years is a long time, especially coaching at the high school level. Do you have any thoughts about, is he going to continue on? Has he given any thought to saying this might be the end? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think back when Coach Sinz had his youngest son, Justin Sinz, playing in college, the thought was maybe that when
because he had to drive down to
to West Lafayette
to watch him play at Purdue.
At Purdue, and so there was the question of is he going to give it up then? Is he going to kind of step down, pass it on? I think he found in those first couple of years that although it was a little bit of sleepless eyes driving back and forth, that he could still do it and he enjoyed doing it, and I think that's the takeaway is. He has so much joy in coaching the sport. And, although there are some really intense moments where things get a little on edge at practice or in a game and, he can really rise the level of intensity, he has so much joy and passion for the sport and the lessons that he teaches, the athletes and us as coaches. So it's more smiles than it is intensity, and I think that's the thing for him that carries through.
And carrying about the players, earlier in the season when Jace Applebeck went down with that injury, the week after that when I talked to him, he was, just so broken up about that the kid was going to be out for all season, and not just for losing him as a football player, but just that the kid was going to be in so much pain and so much rehab in front of him.
Yeah.
He really felt that.
Yeah.
And as a coach, or as a player, playing for a coach like that's got to be big.
Yeah, it is. And I think it allows the kids to really buy into what he's teaching them. It's built on the foundation of respect and care and love. And, that's a great demonstration of it. And, seeing those challenging times, those adversities that kids face, and knowing that Coach Sinz is there to have their back, as all of us coaches are, it's huge.
Okay, just a quick idea of what you think is going to happen in the game tonight. It should be a competitive contest. Iowa Scandinavia comes in. They're a pretty good team.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got a lot of talent, some good size, some great speed. They are a great football team, and on film you can see it happen. And we're looking forward to an exciting challenge tonight. We're gonna be tested in a lot of ways. So,
Assistant Coach Andrew Lukasko, thanks very much.
Thank you.
We'll take a break and come back with more here on Zaleski Sports.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
We're back with Better Halves. Jane is looking for a better health plan. Jane?
I need someone who'll make time for me. So, how would you two get to know me?
You want time? I'll keep you on hold all night long.
He sounds gross.
Jane, I'm Steve from security. I won't treat you like a number. I've got award-winning service and coverage made just for you.
Now that's better. Next up, networks.
Warner Insurance Agency is a family-owned insurance business that has been helping customers with all of their property and casualty insurance needs for 3 generations. Let Warner Insurance help with your small business, farm, home, auto, and recreational vehicle insurance needs. Warner Insurance, proud supporter of the Edgar Wildcats.
And we're back here at Edgar High School as we get set for tonight's matchup with Iowa Scandinavia. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock. But it is alumni night tonight, and we're catching up with a lot of the folks who have either coached with, played for, and been around. Head coach Jerry Sinz, who is celebrating 50 years as Edgar's head coach. We're with assistant coach Chris Trawicki right now. You've been here as an assistant for 10 years. You were a player before that, but 10 years, that's one of the younger assistant coaches that has been around here. Talk about the first time you met Coach Sinz, maybe when you came into school, and then later when you decided to join his staff. What was all that like?
Being a kid from Edgar, growing up in Edgar, there was always, Edgar football. I tell the guys I'm the only coach on the staff that's been alive for every state championship he has. I was about a year old when they won the first one. So we've gone through some guys who are a little bit younger staff now than we have been in the past. But, growing up in Edgar with some great teams in the 80s, Edgar football was what you wanted to be a part of. They won a state championship in the early 90s, and that was the goal. You knew who Coach Sinz was. You wanted to play for Coach Sinz and the other assistant coaches in the program at that time, and you just really wanted to, be out there and carry on the legacy that he was started even back then.
How do you build a program with this kind of consistency? Not just the wins and losses, but the idea that kids in the community know from a very young age they want to play football when they get to high school, and so that's it's an ongoing thing, and you're never fighting for numbers. You're never fighting to have enough players to have a team, and like some schools do.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. Like you said, consistency. It's the same. I know Coach Streit mentioned earlier. Scouting reports, practice, general layout, everything is the same from my days as a player, and I'm sure back before then. He's got a system that works, and we just hammer it. Fundamentals, just do the basics, run, block, tackle, and all those little things, and it just kind of it works, and then you have some success, and kids want to be a part of that, and they want to kind of live up to it. We're to the point now where we're starting to get grandkids of guys that played for Jerry, into the program. So, kids grow up. If you're from Edgar, you've got family from Edgar. You probably had brothers, uncles, cousins, something like that played for the program, and for the most part, probably had a really good time, so they want to just continue that on.
When you get that big of an age gap between the head coach and the players, is there a little bit of maybe communication dissonance at some points where the kids are, Jerry's got his ways of doing things. Are the kids rolling their eyes at any point, and do you younger coaches have to step in certain situations?
There's a few things, but that's the way it is with anything. I'm sure kids are like that with their grandparents too.
Sure.
The technology and things that, the way the kids interact and the way the kids act right now is different than it was, 15, 20 years ago.
Does he coach differently now, you think? And I'll ask the older guys this too. Does he coach differently than he did, 30 years ago?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. when I played, things were a little bit more intense, but maybe that's what you thought as a player. Things were a little bit more intense. He's a little bit harder on you. Now as a coach, it seems like it's dialed back a little bit, but there's still that intensity. There's still, the expectations and the hard work that he demands out of the coaches and players.
If the kids complain, you give them, well, back in my day, it was a lot tougher, right? Yeah. I'm sure they're all doing that. This school might have dropped football. I'm reading this, that when Jerry took over in 1975, there were only a handful of players still around that wanted to play football. It was the only losing season he's had in 50 years. And I know you weren't around then, but how do you think that he was able to turn a program around so quickly? Because within 5 years, Edgar won a state championship. From almost dropping the program to winning a state title within 5 years. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was, especially back then when there were no guaranteed playoff, appearances for a conference champ. It was just kind of a vote around the state as who they thought were the best couple teams that were making it in the playoffs. So I know, talking to some guys, my dad was one of the seniors on the last team, I believe before Jerry took over. And, you hear stories from older guys around town, he went out door to door recruiting saying, hey, you need to come play football. And he went and got guys. And, he made them work hard, but he told them, the message was, if you work hard, great things are going to happen. So I think he always had that confidence and that belief, and it just kind of rolled from there.
Let's talk a little bit about the game tonight. You take on an Iola Scandinavia team that's pretty darn good. You've had running time games the last 3 weeks. Your team knows going into tonight it's probably not going to be that, right?
Yes, yeah, and they're a great team. They've got a bunch of talented players, a big, strong offensive line. A lot of seniors, which is always something that for myself when I'm looking at teams, I look and see how many seniors they got, because seniors just play a little bit different in big games, and we know that they're going to come in, they're going to give us everything they got, and we got to do our best to see what we can do to combat that.
I'm asking most of the guys this question. Do you get any sense that Jerry's going to be hanging it up at some point here? 50 years is a long time for anything, especially coaching at the high school level, which can be very challenging at times. You know that. Does he give any indication that he's near the end?
Not that I've noticed, and again, like Coach Streit said, as assistants, we hope not. He takes care of all the, the planning, the other stuff, and, the things that none of us want to do have anything to do with it whatsoever. I'm lucky enough, I'm Jerry's golf partner in men's league in the summers, and we're out there, and, that's a question that comes up every summer, like, hey, you're going to
I would imagine everybody he runs into at the cafe or anywhere in town.
Doing it, then, like he said before, like, as long as he's having fun and enjoys being out there and, no serious health issues, he's going to keep rolling. So I hope that happens for a long, long time yet.
All right. Well, good luck tonight. This is Assistant Coach Chris Trawicki. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more after this on Zaleski Sports.
Thanks, guys.
Why work for Staub Construction?
Everybody around you is just family.
Everybody seems to bond together and get along good, and
they, I believe, truly care about their employees.
Staub has a great benefits package.
Staub is an employee-owned company that puts a large emphasis on work-life balance.
And everybody wants to see everybody succeed.
It's a good place to work.
Join the team at Staub Construction. Apply now at staubco.com.
Van Ert Electric is an established leader in the electrical industry in the upper Midwest since 1964, with 5 locations in Wisconsin and a sister company in Michigan. We offer our customers a broad range of services from electrical construction, telecommunications, process controls, HVAC controls, thermal imaging, and arc flash evaluations for your industrial and commercial.
Make your next event a memorable one with D&T Rentals. Choose from several inflatable bounce houses, obstacle courses, and water slides. Or make a splash in our dunk tank. We also offer tents, tables, and chairs for the perfect party package. D&T Rentals is a family business who serves all of central and northern Wisconsin. We set up and pick up for a hassle-free experience. Visit us online at dntbouncerentals.com or call 715-892-0959 today.
And we're back here at Edgar High School getting set for tonight's football matchup between the Wildcats and Iola Scandinavia. It is alumni night here. There'll be a lot of former players back here tonight, and they're all celebrating head coach Jerry Sinz, who is celebrating 50 years as the head coach here at Edgar. We're joined now by Gavin Borkert, who's the president of the Football Alumni Club. First of all, most presidents of football alumni clubs are old guys. You're not old. How did this all come about that you're the president of the alumni club?
Yeah, well, I was the youngest guy under 40, I think, that was showing up to the meetings, and I got voluntold, I think, one night after highway cleanup. So I'm glad to be a part of it. I think I've been president now for 3 years, so definitely learn a lot, and it gets you involved with different people in the community, and as a way of kind of giving back to the program all these years later, now that I think I've been graduated for 13 years. So between that and helping out with stats on the field, I guess doing my part a little bit. So
you still get the juice running on the sidelines on game night, huh?
Yeah, last year was my first year starting to take stats kind of in training, and I remember one night over at Marathon in particular, it was a real rainy night, and Jerry Sinz sprinted down the sideline to have a little conversation with Coach Streit about the tempo of the offense at that time, and I just thought to myself, the passion and the excitement, and to just run, on a crummy night, it was something I'll remember for a long time.
Good to see a guy that's been around, doing it that long, still has the passion to get involved that way.
Yeah. I guess when I first came onto the football program as an 8th grader, the one thing that stuck out to me, Jerry was obviously on the back half of his 50 years at that point. But as an 8th grader, I remember in the weight room, Jerry always trying to do reps with us at 135 pounds, and seeing a 60-year-old guy do 135 pounds 10 times like it was nothing was kind of impressive for a young kid that couldn't do it at that time. So I'm sure he still does that from time to time. Just an overall guy that is involved, staying in shape and fitness and practice what he preaches.
Just in the time you've been involved with the program as a player and then moving on to other jobs, what do you see that makes this program so consistently good? What is being done that other programs might emulate and try to get that consistency?
I think Jerry is a fairly humble guy himself. I think he'll be the first to admit that it takes more than just himself, and always gives credit to his assistant coaches who have spoke earlier, and you'll see a few former ones speak coming up. But he's always makes sure to thank parents, fans, people that come up in the booth and help with the clock, go to games and record video and stuff like that. So, he understands he can't do it himself. People have kind of bought into the program over the years. Obviously, it's easy to buy into something that's successful, but he, obviously on the front end, put in a lot of that groundwork and established that, and it's continued on.
What's your memory of playing for Coach Sinz? Some memories that you might have from your playing days.
Yeah, so I was a couple of years younger than his youngest son, Justin, so I was on the back end of a decent stretch there from 2008 to 2011. So I did get to see the 2008 game where we came up a little short, but then the next 2 years, my sophomore and junior years, obviously coming out on the other side of that, and then senior year we had a fairly successful season. Ended up losing in the semifinal game, but just a lot of passion that he still has, late in his career that you can see, is probably why he still does it.
Let's talk a little bit about the Alumni Association. What does a football alumni association do at the high school level?
For the most part, a lot of our fundraising goes towards the football team for some of their expenses throughout the year, for videos and equipment. We do annual fall cleanups and spring fall cleanups for the highway department. And then nights like this, we recognize 10-year increments for past players, invite them to come back. We'll have a social gathering tonight after the game down at the Edgar Lanes that everybody should stop out at. And then we will, tonight in particular, do a little special recognition, have a few trinkets that we'll give Jerry and his wife.
Oh, I'm sure he's looking forward to that. As you said, he's a humble guy. He doesn't like the attention on him all the time, does he?
Right, no.
Yeah.
No.
All right, well, I guess let's talk a little bit about what you know about Iowa Scandinavia. I know you're not officially an assistant coach, but did you play Iowa Scandinavia back in the day, or is this?
My junior year, we played them down there.
Because they're consistently a pretty good program.
Yeah, we played them down there. I remember they had a really good tight end that year, and I think we only won 23-20. And so I think over the years they've maintained a pretty decent program. And looking forward to tonight. obviously everybody likes winning big and getting running clocks, but I think putting the team to the test against a good team, will pay off in the coming weeks.
I think Coach Streit said it that you don't practice to get running time. You practice to have competitive games and
Right.
win competitive games. It's a lot more fun.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, we hope to see that tonight. Thanks a lot for joining us. Gavin Borkert is the president of the Football Alumni Club here at Edgar. We'll take a timeout, come back with more here on Zaleski Sports. Thanks, man.
John, you got to eat up an extra.
Edgar Lanes is a proud sponsor of Edgar Football. We offer a wide range of youth and adult leagues, tournaments, fundraisers, and bowling parties. Also, try our delicious homemade pizza or something off the grill. Edgar Lanes, where friends and family come to meet. Greg's Groots Appliance is the place for all your home appliance needs. Let owners Greg and Tammy Cornack, along with their staff, provide you with quality appliances. Greg's Gruettes Appliance offers professional delivery, installation, and our own service department. Located in Merrill and proudly serving all of central Wisconsin. Greg's Gruettes Appliance. Service with Wildcat pride. Van Ert Electric is an established leader in the electrical industry in the upper Midwest since 1964 with 5 locations in Wisconsin and a sister company in Michigan. We offer our customers a broad range of services from electrical construction, telecommunications, process controls, HVAC controls, thermal imaging, and arc flash evaluations for your industrial and commercial.
Sure.
And we're back here at Edgar High School getting set for tonight's matchup with Iola Scandinavia. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock here on Zaleski Sports. It's alumni night. A lot of former players will be coming back because the school and the football program honoring head coach Jerry Sinz tonight. 50 years as Edgar's head coach, and we ran some of the numbers earlier, and I'm sure we'll do that more as we go through the evening. We're joined now by Jon Streit, who is up in the booth as one of the spotters for Jim Siky, who's the PA guy and former assistant and former AD and kind of jack of all trades here at Edgar High School. But John's the spotter here up in the booth, and so you've played football for Jerry. You've been around the program for years. I guess give us your first impressions. The first time you met Jerry Sinz, what your impressions were.
I think I can say the first clear memory I really have of Edgar football and Jerry Sinz is coming down here. I would believe it was probably in 6th grade, and watching Luke Kaler break a trap right up the middle from probably about the 25-yard line on the north side of the field and going the distance, and just seeing the enthusiasm that the crowd brought and coach brought and how it started to build a culture in me to believe in what was going on and how much fun it really could be. And as coach has mentioned before, we didn't start until we were in freshmen, but just seeing the routines that he built and how guys do it, and the guys that have been away from the program for a little while now could probably still go out there and do every warm-up that we see because he is so consistent. Whether it's coming out and the whistle hits and you're running your 2 laps and you're coming back in and getting into your stretching lines. When the kids come out at the beginning here and we play the music and you have the special teams guys out there doing their routines and you have the linemen that come out later and just how he's consistently held something true to what he believes in kind of builds in all of us as young men going forward and into our adult lives.
Well, if something's successful, there's really no reason to change it, right? I mean, if you're doing something that works, why reinvent the wheel? We were talking about that earlier with some of the guys, and to do the same things for maybe 50 years, if they work, why not?
Correct. Yes.
Talk a little bit about your playing days then. When you got to put on the uniform, practices, game days, all of the stuff that went into it, and your dealings with Coach Sinz during all of that time.
Back then, freshmen suited up on home games if there was enough uniforms. At that time, there was a lot more guys playing. It was nothing to have 15, 20 guys in a class, so it took up a lot of room. And in away games, obviously, the buses were always full. But I can remember my first time playing as a sophomore. I was on a kickoff against Rib Lake. It was actually Rib Lake Prentice at that time. And got in on a kickoff, and then kind of just kept working my way into doing that. And then my junior year, we had a very good team. We ended up winning conference, playing a little bit more on offense especially. And then our senior year, it was a battle with our class and the other classes from other schools. And we ended up winning conference again. And unfortunately, we ended up losing in the playoffs to Thorpe. Some friends and I who our kids are in the same class right now in 8th grade playing football under Coach Sinz. We watched that game the other night, and it's kind of ironic on how you watch that stuff and you get instantly flashed back 26 years ago.
Oh, there's no doubt. Anybody who's played high school sports knows what that's all about. You talk about not being able to play right away because there were so many guys, and we saw last year's team winning a state title, and they had a lot of upperclassmen, a lot of really good players. So there were some talented players that didn't play very much last year that are getting a chance to shine this year, and they are. Nowadays, and maybe not so much at the high school level, and maybe not so much in a small school like Edgar and some of these other small schools, but in college, if you don't play right away, you're going somewhere else, or you're not playing anymore. You're giving it up, whatever, because you either play or you're gone. That doesn't happen here, right?
I think we're in a world of instant gratification, where guys want to have it right now. I think what's really cool and what Coach Sinz has built here is you look at the guys ahead of you and you strive to be like them. Whether it's being in the weight room, whether it's taking shots, whether it's throwing a football, kicking a football, you're never really putting yourself out of it because you know you have it. It's just a matter of getting it. And the coaching staff that we have through all the years of Coach Sinz, they really push you to get that out of you. There's one positive that I would say is that they're going to take the player that they believe is the best that's going to be ready to go, and then they're going to build up the players that are there because they realize it doesn't take one, it takes 11 out on the field. And that's probably the best thing I can say is when they start building a program and looking at stuff, they're working from 7th graders to 8th graders to freshmen to sophomore to juniors to seniors. And my brother said it best before when you were talking to him. They're looking all the way down in the 2nd and 3rd grade already, And that's Edgar football. That's what we love about it, and that's what I think the staff we have and Coach Sinz really, truly believes in.
There was a coach at Everest years ago, Wayne Steffenhagen, I'm sure you know the name. He would go around to the newborns in the D.C. Everest School District and give them a Nerf football to put in the crib with the youngster just to get them ready, thinking about football. And it helps at a school like this because a lot of these players are related to each other. You've got cousins, you've got brothers. I mean, you've got whole generations from the same family I would imagine there are expectations and there's competition. I'm going to be better than you. You're going to be better than me. Whatever. I mean, that helps as well.
There is, and I think one of the really cool things with that is not only is it competition within family, it's encouragement within family. It's encouragement within the community because we're a village of 1,465 people just in the village limits of Edgar. But you also have that encouragement from your neighbor down the road, from when you're walking to school or when you're getting picked up or you see somebody at a game. It's positive, and you have those people that when you run on a positive atmosphere like Coach Sinz does, it feeds the whole community. And that's one of the things I think is really funny is when you start talking about uncles playing or brothers playing, we did a little bit of math and looking at stuff, and it's a couple players now that are actually on 3rd generation. Which is crazy to think in 50 years, or, not all of them were under his head coaching, but it's 53 years, I believe, that you have 3rd generation players coming through, and it's quite special.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Well, tell us about Iowa Scandinavia. I know you do a little scouting on some of these teams that they play each week, and you know some of the ins and outs. So what should we expect from Iowa Scandinavia tonight? I
think it's going to be a good game. I think you never get better by not playing good games. And I think there's a lot of times when you go into a game as a game like tonight in Iowa Scandinavia that, Edgar's ready to be tested. We want to see what we have. Stratford gave us a good game. We gave Stratford a good game. And Iola brings a whole different animal to the booth where they're going to have a quarterback that's fast, that is smart and can throw. They have a very big tight end who is a special athlete. I believe he's only a sophomore. So I think that they're going to queue up something that is going to give us a run for our money, and I truly, strongly believe that our coaching staff has some stuff ready for them, and they work their tails off getting ready for it.
Oh, it always fascinates me that every game, it seems like, especially in the first half of games, Coach Sinz and his staff will pull out something that no one was expecting, whether it's throwing the football or whether it's some gadget plays or whatever it is. There's always something that maybe the other team hasn't seen on film, and that's a big part of being successful for 50 years as a head coach, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's one of the things, too, like as a guy that's been away from it for 26 years and playing, and when you talk to everybody around ex-players or back then you didn't do that. We had our basic offense. Mr. Stanky ran the offense, and you had, if you ran a 46 dive reverse pass, that was about as tricky as you could get sometimes, unless there was a special need on something. And you didn't throw the ball around. We didn't run trips. We didn't run shotgun. We didn't run pistol. So sometimes when you change in the right aspect of it, you're giving teams a different look, and it's confusing to them. So it's been very beneficial lately.
Yeah, back in the old days, it was this is what we do, and if we do it right, you're not going to be able to stop us. So
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for joining us here tonight on Jerry Sinz Night. Jon Streit joining us, and we'll talk to you later.
I have one more thing.
Sure.
I know this gets all the Merriwood guys ready to go, but, Edgar Wildcats, pride of the Merriwood.
All right, we'll be back with more after this on Zaleski Sports.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Van Ert Electric is an established leader in the electrical industry in the upper Midwest since 1964, with 5 locations in Wisconsin and a sister company in Michigan. We offer our customers a broad range of services from electrical construction, telecommunications, process controls, HVAC controls, thermal imaging, and arc flash evaluations. For your industrial and commercial...
If you guys want to kill time, you can talk to an 8th grader.
Edgar Family Restaurant is located just south of Highway 29 in Edgar and open 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, drink, dessert, get it all at Edgar Family Restaurant. Homemade food to fill your belly and your soul. Daily specials including Friday fish fry, soup, salad, pies made from scratch, and a full menu of choices are yours at Edgar Family Restaurant. Give back to those who support our community. Give back and visit Edgar Family Restaurant for breakfast tomorrow, then stay for lunch and dinner too. Edgar Family Restaurant is a proud backer of Wildcats football.
At Haugum Law Firm, we work tirelessly to provide the best in estate planning, probate, trust administration, and long-term care nursing home planning in central Wisconsin. In this changing world, we can accommodate virtual and telephone conferences for your convenience or face-to-face meetings in a safe space. Call us today to learn more. Haugum Law Firm, estate planning and elder law.
And we're back here at Edgar High School getting set for tonight's football matchup. The Wildcats taking on Iola Scandinavia. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock here on Zaleski Sports. It's Jerry Sinz night here on Alumni Night at Edgar, and we're joined now by former assistant coach, but he's worn many hats here for the Edgar Wildcats. Teacher, athletic director, assistant coach. He does the PA. I think you fix the scoreboard. Do you mow the lawn too?
I do, yes, I do.
Yeah, you do. It's Jim Siky joining us here. 30 years as an assistant coach with Jerry, so you probably know his habits and everything better than anybody. I guess, tell us what your thoughts were when you first met Jerry Sinz as a coach way back in those days.
Well, it was interesting because when I was interviewed for the job here in Edgar, as teaching math, I was actually interviewed by Jerry. They brought me into the office and he interviewed me and talked a little football, and you could see how he was very organized and wanted to know what he was getting in an assistant coach at that time, So they were kind of looking at filling an assistant coaching job at the same time that they were filling a math position as well.
Is there something about being a math teacher and being a coach that sort of correlates there, the analytical part of the whole thing?
Well, I think it helps a little bit if you're trying to calculate things, yes.
All right, well, I mean, you look back, and we talked about this earlier, only one losing season for Coach Sinz, and that was the first year, 3-6. After that, it was winning records all the way through, conference championship the next year, and within 5 years, a state title. I mean, that's incredible when you think about it, that you could take a program that was so down and turn it around that quickly. What do you think was the key to that happening?
I think it was probably recruiting. When Jerry took over as head coach, the school board was talking about cutting football because the numbers were so low, and he was an assistant coach at the time. So he told them that he'd take over, turn the program around, and he might have even said stories, come a long way and stuff like that, that he'd have a state championship in like 5 years if they let him take control of the program. And he went out, he's talked about how he had to go out and recruit to get enough players so we'd have a team. And obviously the first year was a little struggle, but then, like you said, conference championship the second year, and then within 5 years had a state championship.
Well, it was like Barry Alvarez at Wisconsin. I mean,
Right.
losing him right away, and then he get his own players in there. I mean, what does he tell families when he goes out door to door and asks kids to play football in a program that's struggling that badly? How does he convince them?
Well, I think he convinced them by it wasn't going to be just football, that he was going to teach them other things and get the program going, and probably telling them that they could be part of the process that's going to bring Edgar football, to where it is now.
And you had a lot of consistency with his coaching staff. You were part of it for 30 years, and there were a number of other people that were there for a long time, and a lot of success through those years. What are some of the highlights that you remember?
Well, I think we were a pretty close-knit group as far as coaching goes. You know, there's and Dave Billmeier is going to be on a little later with you, and it was Brent Engelwright and myself and Jerry. We were together for 25 years as a coaching staff. So the consistency was there. We kind of knew what each other was going to think and do and stuff like that, you know. And obviously that helps with the continuity of the same coaches for 25 years there.
Did you basically run the same offense and the same defense over all those years and just honed it to a fine point? Now he seems to throw in wrinkles all the time. Was it that way back then, or did you just say, this is what we're doing?
Well, the progression of the offense, like when I started, and that was in 1981, a couple years after they won the state championship. I think the first few years, he ran the straight T formation all the time. And then, I remember it was 1983, we actually changed to some of the offense that we still run now with a slot, split end, tight end, and split backs. And then we didn't really throw in any passing or wide open stuff until his son Justin started playing, and he was obviously a good quarterback at the time, and then we put in some shotgun with trips formations and stuff like that, and that's kind of evolved now, and that was back in 2006, 7, and 8, and 9 when Justin played, and they're still throwing in some of that wide open stuff now, and I think they do that now because you got to keep those kids interested, you know. 3 yards in a cloud of dust maybe doesn't, you know.
We were talking about that earlier. Different generation of athletes now than compared to back when you started. I mean, you can't treat them the same way as you did back then, right?
Oh, right. When I started, I think 75% of our kids were farm kids, you know, and stuff like that. And you could go to that T formation and just pound it at them and stuff like that. And we still do. We still have the T formation, if you noticed announcing the games. When you get inside the 10, go to the T and pound it into the end zone. But, yeah, it's a different...
I'm not even talking about the X's and O's of athletes being different. I'm talking about the mindset of athletes being different now. And some coaches say it's not the case, that it's still you're still talking about an adolescent kid and they're dealing with the same problems. But I think today kids have a lot more on their plate than they did back when we were teenagers. And it just seems to me that you can't treat them the same way as you did 30 years ago. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Oh, no, you can't treat them the same way. No. Obviously, I've seen a lot of different ways that Jerry has handled kids. You can't grab them by the face mask and shake them anymore like you used to and stuff like that. You know, you'd probably be done coaching if you did that anymore. So he's changed through the years, you know, because of that.
When he had his sons playing, and let's face it, a lot of families have gone through the program. Did you sense that that he was harder on his own kids than he was on some of the other players? We're going to have Jordan Sinz on a little bit later. I'm going to ask him a question. Did he treat his kids harder than the rest of the team at some point?
Oh, yeah, he was tough on them. He was tough on them. I know they were all managers also, and if they didn't do the correct thing, you know, he would get on them. And I lived 2 doors down from him, and I could see he would make sure his kids were towing the line.
Well, as an athletic director, you talk to a lot of other schools, a lot of other coaches and athletic directors from other schools. What are their thoughts about a situation like Edgar being so successful over the years? Obviously, there have been a lot of rivalries. They've been up and down. Teams have been up and down, like Marathon, like Stratford, some of the other teams you have been big rivalries with over the years. But the consistency of this program it's basically got to be something that other schools are aspiring to and are probably trying to pick your brain, trying to figure out how to replicate it.
Yeah, I think some of the athletic directors want to know how we get enough kids out, because right now there's teams that are really struggling to get enough numbers. Now we got some others in our conference now that are going 8-man football and stuff like that because they can't get enough. So they would kind of wonder, how does he get so many kids out for our program? And I think it's obviously the tradition helps, but the way he treats the kids, you know, and gets them into the weight room, and I think that's a big thing too. You know, other schools are wondering, how do you get these kids in the weight room? You know, they're there in the morning at 6 o'clock, 30, 35 guys lifting and stuff like that. And that's one of the advantages that we have, I think, over other schools too, is the weight training that our kids do.
No NIL in high school, although the WIA talked about that at one point. That's not going to happen, is it?
I hope not.
Yeah, that would not be good.
No.
when you talk about a situation where the numbers just speak for themselves, and we talked about it, 48 winning seasons, 28 conference championships, most playoff wins in state history, most championship appearances in state history. I mean, the numbers are off the charts. There are very few, if any, coaches that can match those kind of numbers. Do you get any sense that he's satisfied with what has happened so far? I mean, winning the state title last year at age 74. I mean, a lot of coaches would say, I don't need this grind anymore. I'm going to go out on top. He's back here again this year with a new crop. I mean, let's face it, he graduated a lot of skilled players and a new crop to deal with here. He's still loving it out there, isn't he?
Yeah, I think as long as he's healthy and the kids are still excited about playing, if there's 30, 35 kids showing up in the weight room, they'll probably show up the week after the season's over in the weight room. And as long as they're excited about it, I think he'll continue to do it, yeah.
When you talk about alumni night, I know you recognize a lot of different alumni over the years that come back here, not just from football, but from other sports as well. Athletes that played at Edgar, they remember their time well here, right? They have good memories of playing here, and that's why they come back for alumni nights and things like that.
Oh, yeah, it's a great time for them to get together and then reminisce about the old times. I mean, they can remember specific plays, when it happened in the game and stuff like that.
But the runs get a lot longer, and
the
passes get a lot longer over there, right? All right, thanks for joining us here. What do you think about the game tonight? Iola Scandinavia, a pretty good team.
Yeah, I think Iola will give us a game. I know they got obviously a speedy quarterback, state champion in the 100 meters last year, so we got to contain him. Don't let him get out in the open, and then a pretty decent tight end. And yeah, they got a good tradition down there too. They've been down at state a few times.
As athletic director, what do you think are the biggest challenges that high school sports are facing at this point in time that you're dealing with and will be dealing with here in the future?
Well, I think we talked about a little bit earlier the numbers factor too, where the kids maybe aren't coming out as much as they did before. So to keep the programs going, not just the varsity program, but trying to keep a JV team going, trying to keep a freshman team going. And then, of course, officials is always something.
Finding officials, right? We're hearing about that a lot.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's amazing to me that we can play this many football games on the same night and have enough officiating crews to go around.
Correct, yep.
Yeah, it really is. All right, thanks for joining us. Jim Streit, Edgar AD, and longtime assistant to Jerry Sinz. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, Tom.
We'll be back with more after this on Zaleski Sports.
Looking for a unique space to host your next event or business meeting? Check out the Milk House at Miltram Farms. You can view the cows being milked by the robots, play in the sand table, or start your own farm on the farm simulator. We have space for up to 125 people indoors, or you can sit outside and enjoy the farm views from our grain bin gazebo and make s'mores on the corn crib fireplace. Check us out on Facebook to see our upcoming events, or go to our website at miltramfarms.com to see availability.
Bame Insurance Agency, our staff has a genuine interest in finding insurance solutions for you. We'll make finding insurance easy for you by shopping and comparing quotes from multiple companies. As an independent agency, we are a more flexible and competitive option and will tend to your present needs, while also anticipating any changes in your future. Bame Insurance, providing high-quality insurance in central Wisconsin since 1938.
Hey, you're tuned in to Better Halves.
Skip, I love my hometown, and I want a health plan that feels the same way. So, what are your favorite local date spots?
Yeah, I know like all the date spots in Eau Claire.
Jane, I'm Steve from security. I've lived here in Wisconsin my whole life, and that means I understand your health coverage needs better.
By the way, Doug, it's Eau Claire. I have a dozen Eclairs in my dressing room.
Located in Edgar, Wisconsin, Edgar Building Supply operates as a lumberyard and hardware store, assisting contractors, homeowners, and businesses with their building needs varying from roofing and siding to windows and cabinets. Their knowledgeable staff can assist you with planning your project, estimating costs, and drafting blueprints. Get started on your building project today with Edgar Building Supply.
Cropping Central, conveniently located between Edgar and Stratford on County Road N, 715-352-2843. Let Cropping Central take care of your field plans, yield mapping, crop scouting, and crop protection, including hail insurance. Cropping Central, 715-352-2843, and visit them on County Road N, west of Edgar.
shop, we are your trusted, local, affordable exterior renovations expert. Isn't that right, Bo?
Exactly, especially when we are working on someone's biggest investment.
Can you give us an example, Bo?
Well, there was this house. We replaced the roofing, siding, and windows. Then, they left a 5-star review.
One of our thousands of 5-star reviews?
Exactly.
For your free, no obligation estimate, call us today or go to ridgetopexteriors.com.
We're back with Better Halves. Jane is looking for a better health plan. Jane?
I need someone who'll make time for me. So, how would you two get to know me?
You want time? I'll keep you on hold all night long.
He sounds gross.
Jane, I'm Steve from security. I won't treat you like a number. I've got award-winning service and coverage made just for you.
Now that's better. Next up, networks.
Warner Insurance Agency is a family-owned insurance business that has been helping customers with all of their property and casualty insurance needs for 3 generations. Let Warner Insurance help with your small business, farm, home, auto, and recreational vehicle insurance needs. Warner Insurance, proud supporter of the Edgar Wildcats.
And we're back here at Edgar High School. It's Jerry Sinz night on Alumni night as the football team getting set to take on Iola Scandinavia. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock here on Zaleski Sports. We're with Jim Heidman now, former assistant coach, former player. He also runs the clock here. That's when the scoreboard's operating correctly, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, all right. And he played on the first state championship team way back in 1979. Just about my age then. Talk about a little bit about what that experience was like. First of all, playing for Coach Sinz in the early days and then playing on a state title team less than 5 years after Coach Sinz took over a program that was in trouble.
Yeah, I think coming up as we were getting older and they were talking about not having football, everybody in my class and our team classmates were kind of wondering if we were going to be able to play football, which we were all excited about doing. And then when Coach Sinz took over and started to make, have some good teams and things went like the way we wanted to, we thought, well, yeah, here's going to be our chance. And we made kind of the best of it.
We've had a lot of people come up here and say that he had to go out and knock on doors around the community trying to find players. Were you one of those guys?
I don't think he was knocking on my door. He didn't need to. I was in the front yard kicking footballs since I was a little kid, so I was ready to go. And I think a lot of my classmates were kind of in that same boat.
You've watched Edgar football for the last, 40 years or close to 40 years. Talk about what's changed and maybe what's the same, but let's talk about what changed first from when you played to what's happening now.
Well, when we played, we didn't pass a whole lot, and I don't think a lot of teams did back in the 70s. We lined up with everybody on the line, and we put 3 guys in the backfield, and we said, stop us. And that's how we played. We just ran it right at you. We ran traps. We threw a couple swing passes once in a while to keep you honest, and that's how it was. Obviously, today that ball is spread out all over the place. Guys are flying in motion. And no, we didn't have any of that kind of stuff. If you split at the tight end, you split 1 foot just to get a better angle on a block.
Now, there's always arguments at every level of football, high school, college, pro, about what the athletes of the 70s would do if they played in today's football. What do you think the guys you played with could do with the high school kids of today? Would they handle them, or would it be a struggle?
Well, I'd like to say we could handle them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything else, but we had some really, really good players on our team in '79, and I think a couple of years before that we had some really good players that just couldn't quite get enough wins. But I think we could compete, but boy, these guys now are a lot quicker, a lot faster. They're bigger.
Were you guys in the weight room as much back in those days as they are now?
Well, we didn't have a weight room.
Yeah. Throwing bales of hay around or something, right?
We baled hay and did some of those things. We might have had one little squat rack and that we used up on the stage if we could get up there.
Yeah. Well, I guess talk about then when Coach Sinz took over the program and put in his style of what he wanted to do as far as practice goes, as far as game day goes, what made the program so consistently good over the years in your mind?
Well, I think not changing anything. He runs his practices the same as he did back 40 years ago, 50 years ago. He has the same mentality. He gets the most out of his players by analyzing them. So I don't think a lot has changed with the way he does things, and I think he's been able to change a little bit with the culture, with just kind of how kids are and how things have changed in society a little bit.
I asked that question earlier. You can't coach kids the same way that you did back in the 70s.
No, it's different. It's definitely different. But he's been able to kind of do that, and I think having different assistant coaches that are maybe younger help with that also, bring that different culture.
That has to be the sign, I think, of a really good coach who's able to make those adjustments and change the way he does things. Because there are a lot of coaches, let's face it, with the ego that said, I'm not changing. It's going to be my way, and this is the way it's going to be. If you don't like it, then go somewhere else.
Sure.
If you can change with the times, and I think that makes you a more effective coach, especially in reaching players who might have a different view of the world than you do at this.
Yes, absolutely. He can be stubborn at times and kind of stick to what he's done, but he also knows that the game has changed, and he's able to kind of do that. But when it really comes right down to it, if we're having trouble not running the ball a certain way or not moving the ball, you're still going to see three guys in the backfield at times because he knows that's going to work.
Well, it's interesting. I've only been doing games the last 3 years, but it seems to me, especially in the first half of games, that you're always going to see a wrinkle in the first half, whether it's, as we mentioned earlier, throwing the ball more or whether it's some gadget plays that you're not ready for. He's going to give you something that the other team hasn't seen on film, and that helps make you successful as well.
Absolutely. He'll throw some passes in there when you don't think he's going to pass, and he'll do some plays that you've never seen before and keep you kind of off balance, and then he'll kind of go back to the bread and butter stuff and get the yards. And then obviously once he's got the lead, he's always been a great defensive coach, and has got a lot of good guys coaching with him.
We've talked about the success of the program and the ability to keep kids coming out year after year after year and having good numbers. What makes the experience special in your mind that keeps the kids coming out and wanting to play football here?
Well, all you got to do is make a trip to Camp Randall once or twice, and it brings a lot of enthusiasm to the town. Championships breed championships. It really does. When you have certain guys coming out every year and they're making it further every year and making it at Madison once in a while and getting to semifinal games, and just the enthusiasm and the pride that everyone has to do that, I think kids see that and it just builds.
And then bragging rights with the alumni. When you come back for stuff, you say, we made it to Madison, you guys did.
Absolutely. I always show those championship rings off once in a while.
All right, well, I guess any other thoughts you have about Coach Sinz as it's his 50th year? It looks like it's going to be another playoff run this year for the team, and the success just keeps building and building. Do you have any indication you think that he might be close to hanging it up?
I think he's gone through that couple seasons where we thought he might, with his son being gone, and as he retired from teaching, is he going to? But now I think he's past that. I don't see him retiring. I don't know why he would. He enjoys doing it. He's got a great passion for it. He's loved in the community for what he's done. Look at him on the field. He walks around out there. You can't tell that he's what age he is. He's just exciting to be around. So no, I don't foresee him.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Jim Heidman joining us on that first state championship team, 1979. Was that at Camp Randall or was that somewhere else?
That was down in Sparta. They played at different areas then, so didn't get to play on Camp Randall. Got to coach at least a few times at Camp Randall, but no, we played at Sparta.
I would imagine
in a snowstorm.
In a snowstorm. There's a great program that Jim Steinke put together. It's got pictures from a lot of the state championship teams, including I think one in the snow down in Sparta back in 1979. That first state title team. Thanks for joining us, sir.
You bet. Thank you.
We're going to take another break. We'll come back with more on Zaleski Sports.
Thanks.
Why work for Staub Construction?
Everybody around you is just family.
Everybody seems to bond together and get along good, and
they, I believe, truly care about their employees.
Staub has a great benefits package.
Staub is an employee-owned company that puts a large emphasis on work-life balance.
And everybody wants to see everybody succeed.
It's a good place to work.
Join the team at Staub Construction. Apply now at staubco.com.
Van Oort Electric is an established leader in the electrical industry in the upper Midwest since 1964 with 5 locations in Wisconsin and a sister company in Michigan. We offer our customers a broad range of services from electrical construction, telecommunications, process controls, HVAC controls, thermal imaging, and arc flash evaluations for your industrial and commercial.
Make your next event a memorable one with D&T Rentals. Choose from several inflatable bounce houses, obstacle courses, and water slides. Or make a splash in our dunk tank. We also offer tents, tables, and chairs for the perfect party package. D&T Rentals is a family business who serves all of central and northern Wisconsin. We set up and pick up for a hassle-free experience. Visit us online at dntbouncerentals.com or call 715-892-0959 today.
Edgar Lanes is a proud sponsor of Edgar football. We offer a wide range of youth and adult leagues, tournaments, fundraisers, and bowling parties. Also, try our delicious homemade pizza or something off the grill. Edgar Lanes, where friends and family come to meet.
And we're back here at Edgar High School getting set for tonight's football matchup between the Wildcats and Iola Scandinavia. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock here on Zaleski Sports. We're now joined by Mark Lakey, who has been around high school football in the state of Wisconsin for it seems like forever. Commissioner of the Valley Conference, of the Merriwood Conference, but you were also on Jerry Sinz' assistant coaching staff for years as well. Let's talk about the first time you met Jerry Sinz and what you thought and how you got involved in the program.
Well, Jerry got to Edgar a year before I did. He came in 72 and I came in 73. We coached together and started in 74. We were both assistants. 75, he took the head job. And then I coached with Jerry until like 1980.
Wow, okay, and so you did get one of those state championships.
No, 79 I went for my principal's license, and the classes were 2 days a week, so I couldn't skip class.
Oh, boy, so you missed the 1 year they won the state
They
title.
won because I was gone, yes.
Talk about the early days of coaching with Jerry and how he developed this program into what it's become. I mean, he took over a program that was in trouble. They were thinking about dropping football. First year was a losing season, his only losing season. What happened in the next few years that you were involved in the program that you saw that set the stage for what we've been seeing for the last 50 years?
Yeah, we were low on numbers the first couple of years, and when he took that head job, the school board administration told us we had to get 40 kids out, and we were down well under 20. So we did a door-to-door at some farms, and we ended up getting enough, and it went well. When you're thinking about Jerry, I think back in our younger years, we went to a coaching clinic together, and Gordy Schofield, the legendary coach from Anago, told the young coaches to quit talking about tradition. He said tradition is when you coach your best players' kids and grandkids. Then you have tradition. Well, that's what Jerry is.
Yeah, I mean, if you stick around long enough, you're going to get the second and third generation. And in high school sports, you're well familiar since you've been involved in high school sports for so long that a length of tenure of a high school coach like this doesn't come along very often. 50 years, yeah. I mean, that's 20 years is a long time, especially now in high school coaching.
Yeah, well, Jerry's got football in his blood, but he's so active. He's active in our community. Service projects and Lions Club. He is active in church. He teaches CCD to the high school kids, sophomores and juniors. He's a reader at church. He goes to church every day, and in school, even though he retired several years ago, he'll sub anytime the principals ask him at any grade level. So he knows the elementary kids, he knows the middle school kids, he knows the high school kids. The parents know him, grandparents know him. If you come by here during recess or noon hour, there are footballs flying out there, and it's just the kids want to be part of the program.
There aren't a lot of coaches that are willing to do all of that, are there?
I don't know. I as a commissioner, I've seen a lot of different coaches. A lot of people want to coach when their kids are there, and then all of a sudden they don't. Well, Jerry's made a lifelong commitment. his family was big in football, but once he got here, everything is geared around his passion for football.
You've been involved in high school football in the state at various levels, including the WIAA for years. Talk about how the game at this level has changed from when he started in the mid-'70s to where we are now. I mean, for better or worse, there are good changes and there are maybe some changes that aren't so good, right?
Yeah, and there's a big turnover of coaches. The expectations on a coach. So you come in, you had some college experience, you had whatever. The expectations that parents and people put on that coach is that you're going to instantly win because you were a good quarterback, 15 years ago. No, it is a program full of details. You should see Jerry's typed up practice schedule for every single day. They do push-ups right. They do every drill right. Otherwise, they keep doing it. And after a while, you don't have to do the repetition because things are done right. But I don't think that young coaches can handle some criticism, critique. Parents right now are more helicopter than they've ever been. And, it's a time when you look at your young kids and say, I don't need this stuff.
Was there a time early in your coaching life and his coaching life where that was a situation? I mean, at this point now, he's past all of that. I mean, there's going to be, he's in control of the program. The program is his and whatever happens. How about back in the early years?
No, people ask how long Jerry's going to coach. I say reach out and see if he's got a pulse. If he's got a pulse, he's doing it.
As long as it's still,
no hesitation.
As long as it's still competitive and fun.
For Jerry, a bad season was if he had 3 losses. And others are saying, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine the numbers. We talked about him earlier, 48 winning seasons, second most wins in Wisconsin high school football history, and he's chasing the guy who's retired now. I think he's got a shot at the guy.
Who's like 12 years old, huh?
Yeah, and
who was legendary in WISA before we ever got to this.
You got the most playoff wins in state history, the most appearances in the state championship in state history, and all of the other numbers that are in this program that they have for alumni night here. I mean, the numbers are just off the charts astonishing when you think about it. I mean, you're not going to see the like of this again. I would venture to guess.
Yeah, he's rare. He's rare, and Edgar treasures having him at the lead, and people trust him.
Where do you think high school football is going in the next 15 to 20 years? Put your crystal ball on, and are we going to see, especially at the small school level, are we going to see more and more schools go to 8-man? Is 8-man a thing that's going to be?
I think small schools. I mean, we're seeing it even in this conference. One has gone. They'd go in the middle of the season if they were allowed. A couple more have applied to go for 2 years from now. I don't know. It takes a group. Jerry's able to get good assistant coaches, and a big part of being an assistant coach is just recruiting. You're getting the kids out. You'll get 30 kids out, 40 kids out, 50 kids out. You're going to do okay.
You get the right assistant coaches that know how to handle kids and don't chase them away, right?
Yeah, If you get a coaching staff, gets them to practice, then the varsity one can get into detail.
As an administrator, you were dealing with a number of years ago with football under fire for concussions, and with parents were saying, I don't want my kids playing high school football because of the injury situation. That's changed a little bit now, right? It's not quite as strident as it was a few years ago.
Well, everybody has a more awareness. I remember, going back how many years when kids used to come in from practice and eat salt tablets.
Right. Well, I remember that, yeah.
Water breaks were like, are you kidding me? And so when the injuries and that kind of stuff comes around, you got to open your eyes. You got to give them the breaks. You got to know what's good for them. Jerry will tell you it's chocolate milk. You got to push chocolate milk. And then, as administrator, I see the price of helmets go up from $60 to $700. Well, I guess concussions.
Yeah,
concussions are important.
Front and center right now. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Thanks very much.
Anytime.
That's Mark Lakey, former commissioner of the Valley and the Merriwood Conferences, and one of Jerry's early assistants. We'll be back with more after this on Zaleski Sports.
There you go.
Thank you.
Greg's Grude's Appliance is the place for all your home appliance needs. Let owners Greg and Tammy Kornak, along with their staff, provide you with quality appliances. Greg's Gruette's Appliance offers professional delivery, installation, and our own service department, located in Merrill and proudly serving all of central Wisconsin. Greg's Gruette's Appliance, service with Wildcat pride. Van Ert Electric is an established leader in the electrical industry in the upper Midwest since 1964, with 5 locations in Wisconsin and a sister company in Michigan. We offer our customers a broad range of services from electrical construction, telecommunications, process controls, HVAC controls, thermal imaging, and arc flash evaluations for your industrial and commercial.
And we're back here at Edgar High School. It's alumni night here, Jerry Sinz night, as we are celebrating the Edgar head coach. 50 years of head coaching for Jerry here at Edgar as they get set to take on Iola Scandinavia. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock tonight here on Zaleski Sports. Joining us now, former assistant coach Dave Billmeier. 38 years as an assistant with Jerry. I guess talk about that experience and first time you met him and how it all transpired.
Well, my wife got a job here back in the early days, and we got married, and I came to Edgar, and I ran into Jerry, and he asked me if I wanted to be an assistant coach. That was back in 1978. Of course, in 79.
Just in time for a state championship.
We had a very good team, so as my first year coaching, we won a state championship. So that got me enthused a little bit, so I stuck around for a while.
Always chasing that championship after that, right? I mean, once you've experienced it, you want to get back.
Well, we did get back quite a few times, and we were close quite a few times throughout those years, and it was a very good experience and very much fun coaching here.
At the end of the season, obviously wins are important. State championships are big. Conference championships. Coaches, though, I think will tell you that one of the things they like to see is that their teams are playing the best football at the end of the season and that the kids have developed from a freshman to a senior. You see the development and the maturity of the kids. Would you agree with that?
Well, that's one of the best things about coaching. You see maybe some skinny little freshman that doesn't even weigh 100 pounds, and all of a sudden by the time he's a senior, he might be a 150, 60-pounder and playing good football. I've seen that throughout the years, every year.
What was it about the program that Jerry put in place that helped this program become so successful? What were some of the things that you saw as an assistant that worked well?
Well, Jerry's been very consistent. We basically run the same offense every year I've been here. With a little variation here and there. If you got a good quarterback like his son was, we threw the ball a little bit more then, But in general, it was very consistent, and I think that helped build our program and keep us winning year after year.
What made the experience special for the kids? We've heard some of the guys who played talk about starting in grade school or when they became student managers or when they first got into 8th grade, 9th grade, and how they were so excited about having a chance to play Edgar football. What made it special for them to be part of this program?
Well, I think the thought that they were going to have a winning team.
Winning helps,
yes.
but it can't just be winning because if you're not having a good time and you're winning, it can be a long and...
Well, it's not. Practices were never, very... like we didn't work them to death or nothing like that, and we didn't do nothing out of the, maybe ordinary things you would do. And again, Jerry was very consistent. He worked with the kids well off the field.
You laid out the expectations before the season started, and so the kids knew what was going on.
Yes.
And he talks a lot about, seeing the kids outside of school, that the kids, football players, would not cause trouble for the most part. I mean, obviously, there's always going to be, some problems. Nothing's perfect,
right.
but for the most part, the football team wasn't causing problems outside of school.
Right. And again, that is, Jerry had good contact with him while he was teaching. Of course, he's been retired from teaching a few years now, but he still subs quite a bit, and he meets with the kids in the off season, and he sees them through. He lives right in town, so he sees the kids all summer long.
And he seems to still be excited about this, so I've asked everybody if they think that he's going to be hanging it up anytime soon, and nobody seems to think that's going to happen.
Well, I don't see it happening in the near future anyway. You know, he's in good health and good shape, and, you know, this is kind of like the one thing he does, you know, being retired, and he certainly must enjoy it, doing it for 50 years, so.
Doing anything for 50 years, right? Yeah, and it helps being successful, but if it wasn't fun and competitive for him, I mean, anything can get old, but it doesn't seem to be that way for him.
Yeah.
All right, hey, appreciate you being with us here tonight. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you.
That's former assistant coach Dave Billmeier with us here, and we'll be back with more after this on Zaleski Sports.
For a unique space to host your next event or business meeting, check out the Milk House at Miltram Farms. You can view the cows being milked by the robots, play in the sand table, or start your own farm on the farm simulator. We have space for up to 125 people indoors, or you can sit outside and enjoy the farm views from our grain bin gazebo and make s'mores on the corn crib fireplace. Check us out on Facebook to see our upcoming events, or go to our website at miltramfarms.com to see availability.
Hey, you're tuned in to Better Halves.
Skip, I love my hometown, and I want a health plan that feels the same way. So, what are your favorite local date spots?
Oh, yeah, I know like all the date spots in Eau Claire.
Jane, I'm Steve from security. I've lived here in Wisconsin my whole life, and that means I understand your health coverage needs better.
By the way, Doug, it's Eau Claire. I have a dozen Eclairs in my dressing room.
Located in Edgar, Wisconsin, Edgar Building Supply operates as a lumberyard and hardware store, assisting contractors, homeowners, and businesses with their building needs varying from roofing and siding to windows and cabinets. Their knowledgeable staff can assist you with planning your project, estimating costs, and drafting blueprints. Get started on your building project today with Edgar Building Supply.
Cropping Central, conveniently located between Edgar and Stratford on County Road N, 715-352-2843. Let Cropping Central take care of your field plans, yield mapping, crop scouting, and crop protection, including hail insurance. Cropping Central, 715-352-2843, and visit them on County Road N, west of Edgar.
Tom King back here at Edgar as we get set for their matchup with Iola Scandinavia. Kickoff set for 7 o'clock here tonight on Zaleski Sports. It's Alumni Night and celebrating Jerry Sinz. 50 years of head coaching for Jerry here at Edgar High School. And we're joined now by his son Jordan, who played for his dad back in the day. In fact, went to the state championship game 3 years in a row, winning once in 1999. Let's get the elephant out of the room first. What was it like playing for your dad?
It was a good experience. I heard Coach Stanky earlier on the broadcast talk about the fact that Dad gave us a little extra love with his coaching, and I think that's fair to say. There was some extra love. At the time, we didn't maybe always appreciate it. We understood, though, because, you know, there's definitely those situations where some people think like the coach's kids get a break and that the coach takes it easy on them. Dad made sure that was never the case for us. He held us accountable. And if we didn't do exactly what was right, then we knew about it and everyone else knew about it. But at the end of the day, that's all I knew as a kid. I had older brothers that played. Obviously, I did as well. And it was a good experience, and we were successful. And my best memories from, you know, my childhood, my high school life, were made in this field right here and with the guys that I played with. And a lot of that goes to the coaching that we had, not just from Coach Sinz, but from the other coaches as well. We were very fortunate in having been involved in high school sports. As an adult now, as you know, a coach myself, and an athletic director, a principal, a superintendent, I realize how fortunate we were here in Edgar, and it just happened to be my dad was the coach.
Did he let you know ahead of time that, hey, I'm going to be tougher on you, and a lot of times it's going to be a message to the other kids on the team? What I'm telling you is for other ears on the team as well?
No. No, I'll be honest. This whole interview, no. Dad never said anything like that, and he always was trying to send a message to us, and to your point, to other people, that this is the way we expect you're going to play, and you're going to, you know, listen and play your best that you always can, and put forth your effort. But no, he never gave us those tidbits that like, hey, watch out, I'm going to be extra hard on you. It was just like, you better get this right, and I know that there's 40 other sets of eyes watching.
Well, three straight trips to the state championship game. I mean, that had to be an incredible high school career for you. Just the experience of those 4 years had to be incredible. And the guys you played with. I mean, you still get together and talk about that
For
stuff,
sure.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Without a doubt. The best friends that I have in life and the guys that I still, we randomly will text each other and see how we're doing and care about each other's families, even though we're all spread across the state and even the country. Are guys that I played high school football with. And once again, looking back on the experience that we had, the 3 years that I played varsity, we won 40 games and lost 2 games. And
you still remember the 2 losses.
Without a doubt. They were both at Camp Randall, so they're not hard to remember.
Yeah.
But no, super proud of it. And just, I think, a testament to how hard we worked as kids, but then obviously not just how hard we worked, but the coaching that we had, and the system that they had in place that allowed us to be that successful.
Well, you did some coaching, as you said, and your brothers too. I mean, one of your brothers is still a college coach at Purdue. In fact, the Boilermakers coming in to play the Badgers tomorrow at Camp Randall. And that's going to be an interesting game down there. But obviously, you picked up some things from your father going into your own coaching careers, I would imagine.
Without a doubt, and I think the biggest thing that all of us have taken away, and I think there's a lot of guys from Edgar that played for this program that have been successful in many different walks of life, and I think one of the biggest things that we all took away is just kind of the leadership principles and being good in the little things. And I think that, to me, like, people always ask me, because I work for CISA 10 now, and I talk to superintendents and principals and people all the time, like, why is your dad so successful? There's no magic to it. They're just really good at the little things, and there's some discipline to it, and they're consistent, and they don't try to reinvent the wheel. And when I look at the success that Edgar's had in football, with my dad as the head coach, but then a number of amazing assistant coaches as well, they've been smart enough and humble enough that they've just stuck to things that work, and they just keep coming back to the things that work, and they get really good at those things. And especially when you're in a small school and you got kids going both ways, like, you can't try to be too fancy. But at the same time, that doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing. That just means that they're smart and they know how to be successful.
Well, I've been talking about this. I've only done these games for Edgar for 3 years, but it seems to me that even with that consistency and doing the same things and getting really good at them, they also put in wrinkles. There hasn't been a game that, in the first half especially, where I've seen something that we weren't expecting, whether it's passing more or gadget plays, like I said before, or whatever it is. There's a wrinkle that they'll put in that other teams aren't looking for. And that's good coaching, too.
Without a doubt, and that was the same way. I played in the late 90s, so what are we talking, 25 years ago now? It was the same way then. Our bread and butter was just like it is right now, but we'd always have a wrinkle here and there or something different, or like a look that we had done for 4 straight weeks, and then suddenly that next week it would be a wrinkle off of that look, and the play would look the same until that point. So no, I think they're also, once again, smart enough that they understand 3 yards in a cloud of dust is awfully tough when they're scouting, when there's everything else. So no, they definitely are smart enough to know to do those things.
You and your brothers watching and listening to the games and sending in tips to your dad, whether it be text messages or phone calls, saying, hey, I saw this the other night. What was that?
Dad gets his fair share of text messages. So we have there's 4 boys, and then my dad, so there's 5 of us on a group chat. That probably gets about 100 text messages a day, a lot of which are about football. But the Brewers last night were a popular topic that killed all of us. But no, there's no shortage of advice for Dad. There's no shortage of advice for Justin at Purdue. But no, we love talking sports. We also understand our dad is, as much as he's softened over the years, he's still a very proud man. And our ideas may fall on deaf ears.
I appreciate you joining us here. That's great stuff. Go and enjoy Alumni Night. I know you probably got some friends here you want to talk to, but thanks for joining us.
Yep, I appreciate it. Take care.
That's Jerry's son, Jordan Sinz, joining us here, and that's going to wrap up this portion of our feed tonight, the Alumni Night here at Edgar. This will be archived, and you'll be able to check it out. And we're going to be back in about 10 minutes or so for kickoff as the Wildcats take on Iola Scandinavia tonight. So join us for that as well, right here on Zaleski Sports.
Thank you.
Yep.
At Ridgetop, we are your trusted, local, affordable exterior renovations expert. Isn't that right, Bo?
Exactly, especially when we are working on someone's biggest investment.
Can you give us an example, Bo?
Well, there was this house. We replaced the roofing, siding, and windows. Then, they left a 5-star review.
One of our thousands of 5-star reviews?
Exactly.
For your free, no obligation estimate, call us today.